In this episode of The Daily Dish, Feature News has followed the teaser trailer and cover announcement for MLB 15 The Show. A massive new patch has just come out for NBA 2K15 on PS4. It'll be out on Xbox One and PC later this week. CM Punk's signing with UFC could be a big thing for EA Sports if they get him into the game. A new Press Row podcast went out on Friday, and a live Press Row Hangout is taking place tonight. In the Saturday installment of The Daily Dish, I spoke with TJ Lauerman for a few minutes about the announcement of Yasiel Puig as the MLB 15 The Show cover athlete. Later on Saturday, Sony had their PlayStation Experience keynote address, where the show appeared with a debut teaser trailer and mention of a few features. Shortly after that, retailers posted MLB 15 up for pre-order along with a small list of features that included more than was talked about during that presentation. Needless to say, there's a lot to look over for a game that is still nearly 4 months out from release. MLB 15 The Show is set to release on March 31st, which is a departure from the norm, outside of last year, of course, of the first Tuesday in March. That's the earliest the MLB allows in the contract, so when there were competing games, they all pushed to be out on that first day. Essentially, what this means is the Xbox One will again go without a true MLB game next year. Sony wouldn't hold their game back to release weeks after another one, if there was one. It's unfortunate for those on Xbox, but anyone who cared about baseball knew the PS4 was the system to get all along anyway. Features include licensed equipment, introduction of legends, improvements to graphics, enhancement to player personality, and again, there's probably why they chose Puig for the cover, overhauled Diamond Dynasty, which it desperately needed, and a new radio show. No mention yet regarding commentary, franchise mode, road to the show, and online play, which are all in dire need of refreshes, or in the case of online, just a satisfactory experience as a whole. Links have been dropped in the YouTube description and Daily Dish posting for the cover news, teaser trailer, and presentation, and feature listings. A new patch went out today for NBA 2K15, and it's a huge one. 2 months out from release, this represents the second post-release patch for the game, about on schedule with support in past years. This one incorporates community feedback as opposed to the first, which was rushed out to fix some pressing issues in the first few weeks of release that hampered the ability to even play. Rather than getting the game to a stable state, here they can now just make it a better game. Included in the patch, which affects just about every aspect of the game, are general gameplay balancing, improvements to face scanning, some new player head scans, fixes to unlimited timeout exploit online, updates to uniforms, additions to online leagues that might make them actually viable to use, and making quarter and clock visible for games that are in action in the Jordan Rec Center. There's way too much stuff to even just attempt and summarize here. So check out the entire list of fixes, improvements, and additions at pastapadre.com. A link is in the YouTube description and the Daily Dish posting on the site. Some big news broke on Saturday night with CM Punk, formerly of WWE, signing a multi-fight contract with UFC. He'll debut at some point in 2015. EA Sports has made an effort to try and increase the appeal of the UFC game. It's struggled to gain traction since release, since when it came out it was not a good game. But they've patched it 5 times since, added 14 fighters, and even 4 new legends coming later this week. If you'll remember, they tried to reach casual fans by promoting Bruce Lee for the game, and that failed spectacularly. Even at under $14, which the game was available for a week ago, it's not like people were tripping over themselves to buy it. So what would get people's attention, possibly bringing new consumers on board with this product? It's someone like CM Punk. If EA could get him added prior to his debut, that would be huge. It has to happen for this game, because he may flame out by spring 2016, which is when the UFC sequel is expected to come out. It's unclear what kind of contract status he has, possibly restricting his appearance in other video games, which would make all of this moot. But if he's available to be added to the UFC game, that would represent the biggest opportunity for EA to turn things around for this struggling potential franchise. Sales of UFC games have dropped with every new iteration, and the UFC's popularity as a whole has been on a sharp downward trajectory. Punk is a big get for the company, and EA would be wise to take advantage sooner rather than later. On Friday, the brand new Press Row podcast went out, and it's one of the most anticipated shows of each year. The Year in Review episode takes a look back at the biggest stories and those that impacted the panel the most. Subscribe to the Press Row podcast on iTunes or the Stitcher app for Android. Shows can also be listened to at pastapadre.com. Tonight, there will be a live Press Row Hangout where we talk about the news related to MLB 15 The Show, results from the Game Awards, the NBA 2K15 patch, Bo Jackson coming to Madden, the new era, supposedly, of NHL, and much more. A link to the event page is in the YouTube description and Daily Dish posting. If you miss it live, the show will be archived on YouTube to watch at your convenience, as well as posted to pastapadre.com tomorrow. And that'll do it for today's episode. Make sure to visit pastapadre.com, which is updated every single day with all the latest sports gaming news and analysis. Follow me on Twitter @pastapadre and subscribe on YouTube. I'll be back soon with another Daily Dish.